Hey everyone, I'm Sison, and today we are taking a look at how to tether your Sony camera to your computer. Okay, so I thought this video badly needed an update because the last tethering video I did, or tethering tutorial that I did, was way back in 2013. And clearly, things have changed since then. Sony are using a newer program with a different interface, and you do have live view tethering, which the older program didn't have. So this is definitely a good upgrade, well, a good alternative to Sony's older, outdated program. In terms of what's supported with cameras, I will leave a link in the description below so you can take a look at what is supported, what the camera is capable of doing with the program. So I'll leave that in the link in the description. I am using it with a Mac at the moment, so keep that in mind. It may be slightly different if you're using a PC, but if you're a Mac user, this should be a fairly simple process. So the first thing you need to do is go into your web browser, Google Sony Imaging Edge. It should be the first option that pops up in the search. Once you're on the website, go into Download Imaging Edge and download it for your operating system, whether that be Windows or Mac. Seeing as how I am using a MacBook, I will get the MacBook one. And then all you need to do is install it from here. Now, what you need to do is set up your camera. You need to switch on your camera and navigate to the network tab. You have to turn off the control with smartphone option. After you've done that, navigate to the setup tab and select USB connection. You then have to select PC remote. Once you've done that, you can now connect the camera to your computer. You use the USB cable, whether that be a micro USB or USB-C that was supplied when you purchased the camera. But if you want to move freely, then I would probably get a longer cable. I'm actually using the cable that was supplied with my MacBook that can also be used with my camera. If you're using a Mac computer, the folder would be in Imaging Edge. You'll see that there is Edit, Remote, and Viewer. For the purposes of this video, we're going to focus mainly on the remote. So if we double click that, the camera is connected. This is your main interface for the software. So we're gonna start at the top here. Actually, I'm gonna focus on the camera because I don't want the kitchen to be in the background. But these two arrows are just changing the orientation, so you can have it vertical, upside down, whichever way you like, and the other arrow is just going the other way around. The display overlay is going to be actually really useful for stop motion photography. So for example, if I take a photo now, it's actually going to go straight to viewer. You can turn this option off, but I will go back to the remote. So if I tap that and I'll put that as the starting image, you can actually overlay the previous photo taken and move it just slightly and then take another photo. As you take more photos, it will automatically update to the photo that you have just taken. So if I do it again and move it again, you can see that you've got a transparent overlay. You can adjust the intensity of it, so you can have it at 100%, which would be a bit pointless, but then you can also have it from the previous image. So that can come really handy for stop motion. Just also to let you know, if you tap it again, it will actually show a different overlay. To have it off, the actual icon needs to be grayed out, not have an orange part to it. Okay, moving on to the display guide. This is basically just two lines, so you can have it set to vertical, to horizontal. You can also change the color of it. So this is great for just, depending on the type of shot that you want. It's more of a guide into how you should frame everything. Pretty straightforward. And this is your standard display guide. So you can actually change it from 3x3 grids. You can change it to diagonals with a lot more grids. It's entirely up to you, depending on how you shoot and how you want to frame it. It's basically a guide on how to frame your photos. Again, you can change the colors if you want, different colors, whatever you feel like, and you can change it from thin to thick. Alright, so moving on to view. This is just turning on the camera's live view effects. So at the moment, what you see is what you get. So if I change the shutter speed, for example, and make it faster, faster, you're gonna see the effect of it straight away. If you don't want the what you see, what you get sort of thing, you can also turn that off. So that's just going to go to what the camera's seeing right now. Can come in handy for different situations, but I prefer to see what I'm actually getting depending on the setting that I'm using. Live basically just means you can turn the live view off or on, so it will just be like that, but I do prefer having the live view turned on. This is the battery indicator, so showing how much battery charge you have left in the actual camera. Moving down here, this is your shooting mode, so AEL is area exposure lock, FEL is flash exposure lock, AF is just essentially pressing, it's like how you press the shutter button halfway, which it actually says right there. So if I wanted to, I can just tap that orange, just tap the background, half press the shutter button, and it will focus. And turn that off, and I'm gonna focus on the camera again and autofocus. Okay, so this is just taking the photo. All right, so this record button, it will start filming the video, but it's only going to save the footage on the camera. It's not going to transfer the footage onto your computer. So just keep that in mind if you intend to shoot video with this. Okay, moving on to this one. This is the interval shooting. So I don't have a folder set up yet, but there is a few things that you can adjust here. So you can start capture immediately. You can have a delay up to 23 hours and 59 minutes if you really want. You can also adjust the capture interval time. So the minimum is 10 seconds. You can't adjust it to 5 seconds, unfortunately, or even 2 or 3. So it's either 10 seconds to 180 minutes, which you can see here. And you can also adjust the number of images you want to capture. And if you don't really care, you just want to capture it to a certain amount of time, you can actually adjust that as well. You don't have to actually see the number of images to capture. Once that's all set up, you are good to go. If you are shooting for long periods of time though, I would recommend having your laptop and your camera connected to an external power source just so it doesn't run out of battery. Okay, so your main settings are here. With the mode, you can only change it on the actual camera itself. So I can't change it through the actual program. So you will need to just change it on the camera. So right now I'm changing it to shutter speed, aperture, program, whatever I feel like, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to put it back on manual. This is pretty self-explanatory. You can either go up or down just if you want to go faster or slower from the shutter speed. I am using the 40mm Zeiss Batis lens, so I can only go down to f2, but if I wanted to close the aperture down or stop it down, I could do that. ISO, very self-explanatory. I can change that if I feel like. And over here you've got your exposure compensation, and then I can adjust that too. So I don't need to adjust the dial on the camera. If you're using an A7, you can change it here, and this is your flash exposure compensation. Subsettings is basically like pressing the FN button. So, well, for me, this is what I have. I can also change it, change my settings from JPEG to RAW and JPEG. I can change the quality of it as well, the size, the aspect ratio, the drive mode, so you've got a lot of options there. Picture effects, I don't need at the moment, that's actually grayed out. And hello Renee. Auto white balance, I can change that for whatever I feel like, whatever the situation accounts for. And this is your dynamic range optimizer, so you can do HDR if you feel like it. And over here you've got your focus areas. So cool thing about this, I am already in it, so flexible spot, I can change it like I did before, and just by tapping the screen or moving the cursor around. The grayed icons are basically what you can't change depending on the mode that you're in the camera. So just to let you know, there is a reason why it is grayed out. Focus is basically toggling between autofocus and manual focus. The arrows are the different intensities. So one arrow is to manually focus on something near, and then this will intensify. For example, if I'm shooting something that's far away, I can do that. Or if I'm shooting something close, just like that. So it's very self-explanatory. Again, if you have any questions about any of these options or features, just leave a comment down below. I'm more than happy to help you out with it. The histogram, very simple. I mean, you can get rid of the blues, greens, reds, yellows, whatever you feel like. So just keep that in mind. You can adjust it, and it does help. The histogram does help depending on what you're shooting. The save settings, so this is basically just the folder that you're saving your photos in. While I'm in this mode as well, I can also change the prefix, so whatever I want the file names to be. Oh, actually, I forgot the magnifying glass. So if you're manually focusing or you want to fine tune what you're focusing on, you can actually zoom in a bit. It's on ×1 at the moment, so I can go closer by 5.9 and then 11.7, and that's the closest I can get. So that does come in handy for manual focus, just for fine tuning. And yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you found this video helpful in terms of what the program can offer you and give you some insight into what you can actually do with the Imaging Edge program. I will be doing other videos on the viewer and the editor, so that's going to be in upcoming videos. But if you have any questions on what I've covered in this tutorial, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I will leave all the links to what you need to download the firmware, the software, in the description, so take a look at that. But you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram for more sample photos and photo updates on different lenses and cameras. And I think that's pretty much it. So until then, happy shooting and thanks for watching. In the comment section, badly needed. This video needed badly previous program. What do you think Sony? Sachi just farted. And she's walking away now. Damn you, Sachi.